everybody. This is Virtually Inspired, the show that is all about helping you up your game when it comes to virtual experience design and facilitation. Let's change the landscape of virtual from awful to awesome. I am Melissa Dinwiddie, and I infuse connection, joy, and delight into virtual trainings and events. I work with innovative, people-first organizations that are grappling with boring or non-existent virtual trainings or events to transform them into creative, interactive, playful experiences that attendees rave about because they learn new skills and behaviors while building connections and having a blast. So welcome. Today's guest is Jude Treder-Wolff, who is a social worker and creative arts therapist. And she is also a singer-songwriter, storyteller, improviser, writer, and performer. And she is the host and creator of Mostly True Things, which is a game wrapped in a storytelling show that features true stories with a twist that grew into a monthly cultural event at venues on Long Island and New York City and travels to communities around the country. I'm so thrilled to have Jude here. Welcome, Jude, to Virtually Inspired. So great to have you.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm so happy to be here and talk about all these creative things with you.
Yay! So Jude, I did not realize that you were also a singer-songwriter. I am as well. I don't know if you knew that.
I'm learning that right now, and that's so cool. It's wonderful to meet a fellow singer-songwriter. It's not an easy road, but it's a joyful one, yeah?
Yes. Well, I'm curious if you improvise in your singing and songwriting.
That is, oh my gosh, that's such a good question. So I do now. I was trained as a musician. Because I was started as a music therapist in my career originally, and getting music training, traditional classic musical training, is not improvisational at all. It's very perfection driven.
Yeah.
And it made me really pretty neurotic about mistakes and not being prepared. It seemed, that not being prepared mindset. Then of course, jazz is improv, but you have to learn all music theory and all these things to really do it well, or so I felt. So it was a breakthrough for me when I discovered musical improv as a grown woman, because I went in there with that, like, okay, I'm going to make up a song on the spot. And it absolutely helped me break through those barriers of my own perfectionism that I mean, musical improv did that. And then that turned into a much more free and exciting way to write songs for real, songs, not just in the moment, but songs like we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things that improv has done for me, just in general, in all areas of my life, in music, art, in the world, is help me with perfectionism in a big way. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if someone had told me that, but it's one of those things where the experience of improv is the only way that you absolutely can get really internalize it. You have to actually just do it. Because if someone had said, you will be able to do this and you will find joy in it and you will not doubt yourself and be struggling with, crippling, paralyzing self-doubt, I just would have said that. How can that be?
Yeah.
And then the process of how improv reorients your thinking.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. It reorients your thinking.
And it absolutely changes the way you think. And it's been the greatest gift as a creative person, but just as a human being in my life, for sure. And I've tried every kind of self-help thing and therapy thing. And improv is naturally therapeutic. And it has a wonderful shame-busting quality that I think is part of that crippling, that paralyzing self-doubt.
Yeah. Preach.
A fellow singer-songwriter.
Yes. Well, and actually, speaking of improvisational music, I know this is not what we're here to talk about, but just as a little side tangent, I have a practice right now that I'm on. I'm currently probably doing it for 100 days. I may extend it. I do an improvisational vocal, and sometimes using other ways of making sound and music, loop track every single day, where you know what looping is, where you record little loops, and then I can create a choir of my own voice, and I can back myself with my ukulele or other instruments. And so I make a new song every single day, but it's always completely improvisational. So it's not songwriting in the traditional sense, like you were talking about, but it's a lot of fun, and it's very playful, and it's improvisational. So
wow,
there you
go. And you're keeping those channels open.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great practice that is.
It's very, very fun, and it's a great great tool for busting perfectionist paralysis. You know what I'm trying to say.
I absolutely do. Yes.
So anyway, what I would really love to do is, I know that you have some great activities that have been working well for you virtually, and we'd love it if you would maybe share one or two, or however many we can get to, and the time that we have.
I'd love to. I would love to. So, let me set up the kind of trainings that I tend to do. I'm talking from a training perspective. So I do improv just for improv's sake with folks online. And then often people will talk about the real life benefits of it, from just learning how to listen, respond, co-create, be part of this a group of people making something happen together that isn't planned, predicted, scripted, and is its own ride, you know, how improv can be. And then there's the applied side, which is what I was thinking about for what we would be doing, because I'm a trainer and work with people who have really never used improv as a method for, as we were talking about, sort of with the idea of perfectionism, but of getting out of the scripted kinds of thinking that makes us say no to a lot of ideas, and makes us say no to sometimes great ideas, just not be able to get into the creative space. So with that said, so I work with lots of different mental health professionals, teachers, some people, all different kinds of people, but mainly people who help other people shape their lives. The reason I'm giving you that kind of pitch at the beginning is that the exercises and games that I was thinking about sharing really relate to people sharing about themselves in a way that creates psychological safety in a group, and is improvisational in the sense that it teaches people the structures, how to use the structures of improv to keep things safe and yet have some creative freedom within those structures. So this is a very simple one. You and I can do this very easily, but especially so of course we're only talking about stuff that we use on Zoom, right? So one that I like to use early on in a group process where people don't know each other at all, or maybe it's a one-off. Maybe they aren't even going to know each other after that. Maybe it's a long workshop or something, is to use something in their environment, to pick an object in their environment. And this we could do very quickly and say, and the objective is, show us your heart. So it could be that somebody picks, I actually happen to have, if you could just pick an object in your environment that is a metaphor for your heart.
Okay, I have something.
What's that?
I have something.
Great. So share. This is my heart.
So this is my heart. It's got a protective casing on the outside, but if you know how to open it, then it unleashes the capability to create incredible beauty.
Oh my goodness. I love that. I love that description of your heart. Yes. I'm gonna pick this. I'll pick this. This is my heart. It is something that lights up. And it lights up. That's the best I could do.
Oh,
It
I
lights
love
up. It has degrees of lighting up. I was looking for something that was that. Oh no, here's another one. Here's my art. It opens. It can open.
Oh.
Open. So that exercise goes by very quickly. People can just pick anything. And if it's a therapy group, sometimes people might pick something that's broken and say, my heart is broken. Or they may say, my heart was broken, but now this was in pieces and now it's back together. There's lots of ways that people might. I love the way you described that pen. That was really beautiful. You could also say, we could say, show us your hope. So something in the environment that might represent your hope. If it's a group of people that are there for maybe not such an interpersonal sharing isn't really appropriate, then we might say, show us how you feel about change. How do you pro con whatever, and have people here I'll say, I like change. I like change. I'm a glass half 3/4. I'm a glass 3/4 woman. I really like change, but there's that disruptive part that's not so much. How about you?
Let's see. I am a little bit prickly about change, but also kind of excited.
Love that. Yeah.
Yay.
Great. So that's improv adjacent in a way. It's experiential. It gets people to share something about themselves. This is true improv in my view. So this game is an expansion of an exercise that we would do in improv performing groups, where a game called, I'm sure as an improviser, you know the game 5 Things or 3 Things?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's an adaptation of that game for the purposes of an applied improv space.
Okay.
So how I like to do it is this. What I'd like you to do, I want you to think about 3 qualities about yourself that you are really proud of, that you feel positive about, and whether or not you do share with other people openly, you can in this space. Let's say, this is how I would present it to people. I'd say, maybe you don't like to brag about yourself, but this is an opportunity to say, oh yeah, I'm going to. So I want you to think about 3 things that you wouldn't mind sharing. And the way it's going to go is, if you and I were partners, it would be, I'm going to do a random movement of some kind. And then you're going to say, oh, that's and then name that quality.
Okay.
But the idea is for the movements not to be literal in any way, not to be trying to act something out, just a movement. So first I'll do the movements and you go, oh, that's and then name it your thing. And then you'll do movements and I'll name them my things.
Okay. Just so I'm going to name all 3 in a row of your movements.
1, 2, and 3. And then after each one, the group goes, yes.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
All right. Okay. So,
oh, that's my positivity.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's my high achieving.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's my cheerleadingness.
Yes. Yes, Melissa. Great. Yes. Okay.
Yay.
So you do 3 random movements and I'm going to name them something.
Okay.
That is my willingness to help a stranger.
Yes.
That is my perseverance for sure. Yes. Yes. That is my visionary thinking.
Yes.
All right. So this exercise I love doing with people because it gets people into the body. And on the Zoom space, as you know, or the online space, it's very much the head, and it's very easy for even an improv for things to become kind of static. And I encourage people to make movements big and random, and let your partner name it anything at all. And it also delivers to non-improvisers, because I generally do this with people who have really never done improv before, a core principle, which is whatever we name, like if I do this and then you say, oh, that's my amazing sense of humor. And I go, and everyone goes, yes, it is. Well, we just made that up. We just made that up together, and we found agreement in a minute, in a second, over and over and over again. And as we say yes and yes and yes to this wild movement, that you're saying, that's my amazing intellect. And we go, yeah, it sure is. It's much like, as you know, as an improviser, when you get on stage and somebody does a thing and someone else says, oh, rough night last night. And you go, yeah. And you didn't, you just name the movement something. Yeah. And your partner says yes to it. And that yes builds a world together that started sometimes with just a random movement. But in the purposes of for an applied situation, we find out stuff about people. We find out things about each other. We support each other in this radical acceptance format. Practice an improv skill, which is naming something and going with it. And the whole group gets behind it. So I like to demonstrate those principles right up front, and just don't be literal. So that's one that I do. I've done with everybody from, fourth graders to postdoctoral researchers.
That is brilliant. I absolutely love that. And one of the things that I love so much about that is the adaptation of the, 3 things or 5 things or 7 things or whatever, which is such a common improv warm-up, and taking it that extra level and adding the body movement and adding the internal, what is my strength, and turning it into this way of people being able to learn more about each other and creating that combination of so many things happening at the same time, where you're helping people really learn that yes and muscle building skill combined with the learning about each other, and also really validating that yes, I have this skill, or have these these 3 different skills, and I get to acknowledge that and have other people really validate that at the same time. It just a brilliant exercise. I love it.
I'm glad you liked it. It always gets the group. It's a good one. So I'm glad you like it, and I hope you have fun with it.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to an opportunity to use that. It's a great one.
So those are I want to see. So can I share another one?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So this one is something I just recently adapted for the purposes of training people who, again, it's training. Well, it's all human behavior specialists, people who work with people, and on Zoom, how we can zone out. It's easy to zone out and not really focus. So there are only 2 of us. This exercise is supposed to be for 3 people. So I'm just going to explain the third thing. But the reason I do want to share it is because I think it's useful for people if they try it in using the Zoom. It's an ideal one for using the actual Zoom window, or the whatever window we're using. In this case, most people use Zoom or something along those lines, right? So in this exercise, it's 3 people at a time, and there are 3 physical positions that have to be on screen at all times. So it's an adaptation of that improv game. So using the the Zoom window, one movement would be this, like, all right, that's enough, this. Another movement is this, like arm, I guess I should bring my screen down, is this, like arms over your chest. And the third movement is leaning in like this. So there have to be, so if we start out with a conversation, let's say 3 people are deciding where to go for lunch. And you're there, you got your hands up, right? And so let's say I start like this, and our third partner that isn't here. So you and I were just going to have to go back and forth and just do one of them. So there's at least 2 on stage at any moment. And let's just have a quick conversation justifying these movements and making sure that we notice that the other person has moved and we adopt another one.
Okay. Whoa. I don't want to go there because they don't have anything gluten-free.
They are also, they're expensive. They really are. And I don't have a lot of money.
Well, we can go someplace cheaper.
Whoa, are you saying I'm cheap?
I would never say that.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm so sensitive about, the cutbacks, and I'm sorry. I'm just a little sensitive about it.
Yeah.
I might have to bring a bag lunch from now on, to be honest.
A bag lunch?
I'm not kidding.
Oh, man. That
just... Okay, scene. that is about noticing. So 3 people and non-improvisers can do this if you just give them, it's a simple enough instruction, but there's giving and taking a focus, using your body, using the Zoom space to be interesting, to be visually appealing, and care about what's happening on the Zoom, or I keep saying Zoom, but you know what I mean, the screen, the online screen.
Right.
But it could start with things like, okay, people deciding to buy where to go on vacation. People, I've done one where it was three friends who all show up for the same interview.
That's good.
Yeah. So that you have different scenarios, and then if needed, like once you have this going, you could take more serious topics, and because it provides this safe structure where it's kind of fun and engages the novelty of your brain and the motor. Anytime we're physically moving and using action, it's literally activating, to our brain. So that's going to make the online learning and the online interaction more engaging to use the body.
Yeah. So this is like in person, the variation that I've done is what, sit, stand, lie down.
Yeah. Yes.
Something like that.
Yes. That's where I got it from. It was from the sit. Exactly. So you justify the movement, but adapted to the online space. I just think it's even more important to, it's a wonderful exercise in the room, and it's a wonderful exercise for the improv purposes, and for engaging people in the online space. It's very useful to keep. You could do zooming in, zooming out. Someone has to be zoomed in, someone else has to be zoomed out. That's another. Somebody has to be here, somebody has to be here.
I love using these, like just this and arms crossed, and there's so many connotations to those, just simply putting your arms and body in those positions, that lends itself to to being justified in certain ways. So that adds a lot of fun to it.
It does. Yes. And I think it speaks to that, the embodied, just how emotions are embodied, and embodying something gives rise to inspiration.
Yes.
And improv is the most powerful method, I think, that demonstrates that. Take the role. I always teach people in regular conventional thinking, we understand something in order to say yes to it. We study it, we examine it, we think about it, we analyze but in improv, we say yes to something in order to understand it.
Right. Yeah. It makes me think about, I facilitated my first in-person offsite, my first in-person anything for, 2 years, a couple weeks ago. And I did a at the end of the entire day, I did embodied takeaways, which is something that I learned from Erica Marks, actually, at a conference, a Polite Improv conference. We all stood around in a circle, and one at a time, whoever had something that they wanted to share, instead of standing around in the circle and want everybody going, or, just saying a word, this is, something that you're taking away, a word or a phrase of something special that you're taking with you from our time together. People would step into the circle and strike a pose that represented something that they were taking away in addition to the word. So it wasn't the same thing of, striking a random pose and then justifying it, but there's something so powerful about bringing our bodies into that experience rather than just being in our verbal processing part of our experience.
Yes, and as a participant if I were in that group, and I think I've been in something like that. I don't know if she ran it, but I've been in something where we did that, like a sort of a gestalt of your experience in your body.
Yeah.
Instead of people talking about it, which you may or may not actually tune in, you're absolutely compelled by that physical pose.
Yeah.
There's something about that is very engaging, and your body responds to it.
Yeah.
And that helps with how at the end of things we're tired.
Yes.
And our brains are tired. So
yes.
really bringing the embodiment it's really brilliant to do it that way.
Yeah. And that's something that we can, even though we can't, link arms with each other in the same way that we can when we're in person, we can use our bodies on, in these little boxes that we inhabit in these meetings, right? So we can still do something similar of, strike a pose or make your hands make a shape or something like that. So that's something good to remember. So, well, we are near the end of our time. So I wanted to share, let's see, first, before I get to where people can find you, I want to share what's coming up for me. And let me just here we go. Ta-da! And let me just get rid of my little, where is it? Here we go. There we go. So every month I do a learning lab. I lead a workshop, an hour-long workshop. I call it a learning lab because there's no tests or anything. It's very experimental. And I share 2 or 3 activities, very hands-on, very similar to the kinds of things that Jude was sharing today. And they're always themed around a particular theme. So in April, the theme is mindfulness. And I'm actually going to be doing them in a brand new, to me, platform instead of Zoom. This month, it's going to be on a platform called Butter, which has a lot of advantages over Zoom. A couple of disadvantages, but mostly a lot of advantages, some really nifty features. So if you've been curious about Butter, if you've heard about it at all, you might want to come check out this learning lab just to experience Butter, and also come experience some activities specifically around mindfulness, specifically for virtual platforms. And if you have not been to a learning lab before, you can come for free using the code, let's see, there we go, right there, First Timer. You can come for free. So that is my plug for the learning lab. I hope to see you there. They're always a lot of fun. And it's just an hour long. All right, now I'm going to come back. There we go. And Jude, how can people find you?
Well, I'm excited about that learning lab, and I am putting that in my book right now because that sounds. I just want to experience that, and I'm very intrigued about the Butter thing. So I have a website called LifeStage, which is my company, lifestage.me, that has all our upcoming stuff and blog pieces, because I write about improv on Medium, and then I post them often on the website and upcoming events and so forth. And then I have a website that's my Performy storytelling website, which is JudeTreder-Wolff.com. And I would like to mention that, and you can find that on both websites, this will be mentioned. This Friday that we're airing right now, that we're live streaming, this Friday, April 1st, this Mostly True Things storytelling show will be an online performance with 4 terrific storytellers. One of them is an applied improv colleague, Rita Regano. She's so wonderful.
Oh, I know Rita.
Yeah, she's telling a story in it. Jessica Robinson from Virginia, Nick Baskerville, and David Hugh. They're 4 wonderful storytellers. And we're doing this as a benefit for Robin Fox's organization.
Robin Fox, who has been a guest on this very show.
Robin Fox of socialeyes.org. She and a colleague created a project called Empowered Kids Stay Safe. And all that is linked on our websites. If you even put Empowered Kids Stay Safe, their GoFundMe page will come up, and you can just directly donate money to them, or you can pay $10 and see a terrific show and support this wonderful organization that's working to help kids to avoid bullying.
That is so awesome. Yay. I'm so glad you shared about that. So that's April 1st, Friday, April 1st. Go to either of those websites to get more info. Go check out the show, support the cause to defeat bullying. Woo, 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 woo. Yay. Awesome. Jude, this has been such a delight. It's so fun to have you on the show. I would love to have you come back anytime.
I'd love to come back. This is great.
Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day. And yeah, thank you. But thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Ending the broadcast now. Bye. Thanks for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell to get video updates. Thanks.